Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cooking with CandiWare, and today we're going to be working on a UV resin / polymer clay DIY. Now this has Wild Berry Princess, if you guys are familiar with Adventure Time, and a cute little strawberry that I made, so I hope you guys will follow along. Also, just to let you know, at the very end of this video, you will see a little bit of content from Twitch with my kitty in the corner, so don't be alarmed. So first we're going to be taking some scrap clay and we're going to be making two molds, one of the strawberry and then one of Wild Berry Princess. So you're just going to form just any old scrap clay. So you want to make sure that there's no creases or indents because you want it to really pick up what you have as the form. So after that, you're going to cook it according to the clay's instructions, and now we're going to be working on Wild Berry Princess. So you're going to want to make a long dome shape like what you saw there, and we're just going to roll out a super long snake, and we're going to cut out a whole bunch of little pieces to roll into little balls to add on to Wild Berry Princess. And as you can see, there I am rolling all of them out. Now you do need a fair amount, so do be patient. Don't make them too large or else it's not going to look as nice. Now we're going to be working on her face, and it's just a little heart shaped, so I just flattened out some scrap clay and then we're just going to cut out a small little heart. After that, you're going to place it on the little dome that we had made, and then you can start going in and adding on all of those little circles that we had created. It's a good idea to first start with adding them around Wild Berry's face so that you can get an idea of where they should be placed. And definitely add smaller ones around her face because it would look a lot cuter. So then just keep filling it up until there's no more empty spaces. And then cook it according to your clay's instructions. Now we're using a 2-part epoxy silicone mold. It's called Easy Mold Maker. Find everything you need down below, and we're just going to mix that up. And once the two colors are mixed really well, you're going to just add on the strawberry and just squish it into the mold. And then you want to leave this for about 15 minutes for it to adhere and harden. You just want to tap it lightly on your work surface so that it will stay in place. Next, we're going to be working on the Wild Berry Princess, and we're going to be doing the same thing, but take a smaller amount, a very, very small amount, and we're just going to drag all these small pieces over every groove and indentation that we have so that it will pick up all the little minute little details that we have on Wild Berry Princess. Then you'll go over it with more of the clay or more of the epoxy silicone that we have just made to cover up everything that we had just covered. So this will just hold everything in place a little bit better. So it's like a double layering system. Now you're going to want to let the molds dry for a couple of days because they do need some time to actually cure, but once that has happened, we're going to be making our 2-part epoxy resin. So I just added the hardener there, and then I'm adding the actual resin, and then we're going to be adding it into a small little glass. So make sure you measure out equal amounts of both the hardener and the resin. Then you're going to mix that all up in the little cup. Once there isn't any more streaks in the resin, we're going to give it a double mix. So you're going to pour it in another little cup. That's why we have another one beside us. Then we're going to add a little bit of pigment. Now this is particular pigment meant for resin. So I just added a very small amount because I want it to still be a little bit see-through. So we're just going to keep mixing that up, and you want to be very gentle while you're mixing so that you don't add more bubbles. And I'm using a heat gun just really quickly to get out any bubbles. It ended up melting the cup perfectly so that it made a little bit of a little easy to pour section. So you could pour it in your mold, and if you don't have a heat gun, you can just use a lighter. So pour it in the one mold, and then you're going to definitely use the heat gun to get out any little bubbles that are rising to the surface like that. And then you're going to do this again with the wild berry mold. This one I went a little bit more gentle with adding in any of the resin because I wanted to make sure that it would get into every little crevice. And I took my time, and then at certain layers I would use a little bit of the heat gun and then add some more bits of resin and then use the heat gun again just to make sure that there isn't any bubbles. Now you are going to let this cure for 24 hours, and then once it's done, we'll be able to go in and add some polymer clay fun to it. So now, this is when I was working with it on Twitch. So what we're going to do first is take some green clay, and we're going to roll this into a stem, and we're going to place this on the top of the strawberry. And I'm just going to use a toothpick and roll down pieces of stem so that it adheres better to the resin piece. Now we're going to cut out some leaves, and this is going to go on the strawberry. So now we're going to place those leaves on the strawberry and cover up the stem area. So now once you've added on all of the leaves, I'm just going to use a toothpick and add little indents at the very center of the leaves to make it look a little bit more like they are. And then after that you can bake it. Next we're going to take the Wild Berry Princess mold, and because the mold didn't go high enough and it looks like she's missing half of her body, we're going to add on some polymer clay balls so that it looks like she has a more full 3D shape. So we're just going to keep adding them around her until she has something fuller. So we're just gonna put a whole bunch of them down. But before we do that, we're going to add on another stem. So this is a little bit difficult to get off my fingers because by this point the clay is really soft. And so I'm trying to get it to be placed without too much difficulty, holding it in place and then using a toothpick to really squish it down. And then I'm adding on a leaf right beside it. And then we're just going to want to cover up this whole area with polymer clay. So now we're going to take some yellow and roll it out. I'm trying to work on her crown. So once you have a decent amount of clay, you can cut that off and put away the rest. And so that is the base of the clay of her crown. And then from there we're going to just squish down some yellow, and then we're going to take an X-Acto knife and cut out her crown shape, which is just the 3 little triangles sticking up. So you're going to cut that out, and then we can add on the very bottom of the crown, and then we can lift that up. Turns out, I don't know why I thought I would need that much. A lot of this actually needs to be cut off because it doesn't need any of that excess. It's more just like a square shape with the topmost triangle for the middle. So we're just going to squish the 2 pieces together very gently since this is very, very small. And then we're going to take a small little bit of red, and this is the little ruby that sits on the inside. And then we're going to just set that aside and finish adding on the little berries. And then we're just getting prepared where the little mouth and the eyes would go. So you're just going to roll out a really small snake and have 2 little beady eyes. But they're not going to stay on the resin, so I baked it separately and then added it on later. So we're going to add on the crown right now and then just shape her stem however you want it to be. I like it kind of pushed to the side like that. And then you're going to cook it according to the Polymer Clay's instructions. And yes, you are cooking it on the resin. And then after that you can take the resin and add another layer over everything. Then you can add on the little dotty eyes and the mouth, put a little bit more resin on that, and then this is your outcome. I really hope you enjoyed this DIY. I love Adventure Time, Polymer Clay, and I have this new fascination with UV resin, so I hope you guys will enjoy this. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear your comments down below, and hope to see you on Twitch the next time I go live. Anyways, love talking to you guys. Bye!